Hello, part two of the A to Z movies. We were literally just ending B. My B was going to be The Business.
So, I've not watched this. So
we spoke about this off screen between episode 1 and episode 2, or part 1, part 2. So it's a 2005 movie with Danny Dyer in, and it basically is set in the 80s, like gangster movie. It's good. Give it a watch. Really good soundtrack. Like, I know you're talking about.
I do love a soundtrack. Yeah, I adore a soundtrack.
Yeah. Let me just show you the soundtrack quickly. And you can just go, oh my god. Look at some of them movies from the 80s. Oh, the songs, sorry.
Oh,
Video Kill the Radio Star, Modern Love, My Sharona, Flock of Seagulls. They're from Liverpool.
It's My Life. Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Bit of Blondie.
Echo Beach. I love Echo Beach. Oh yeah, Blondie, call me. My Sharona. Modern Love. Oh crikey, yeah, that's a decent soundtrack.
Yeah, he done really well. Nick Love.
That is a decent soundtrack.
I don't know if directors come up with the soundtracks. I guess some do, probably.
Some do and some don't. I know Quentin Tarantino's quite a soundtrack guy, isn't he? Yeah.
Some of these movies are in it.
Yeah. So the only other one that I was going to mention for B was, and again, being an 80s kid, it was one of those films that it's just a feel-good film out of the 80s that you can just watch. Have you ever seen something called Batteries Not Included?
No.
Batteries Not Included, it was one of those ones, it was another kind of effects movie where there's these, basically...
1987?
Yeah, it's basically, there's a whole load of people in a block of flats that's going to be ripped down.
Right.
And they don't know what to do, and these little alien ships comes along, and they're like little totes of daubs kind of thing.
Okay.
And everything. But it's just a silly little feel-good film, but it is a kind of, kind of thing, you know? And these little ships turn up, and they actually built the ships and everything. It's a silly little film, but it is fun. Right. C.
We need to go on a roll here, I think. C. Not just 2 letters in an hour.
No. So C, a couple that I've got straight off the thing were Casper and Cool Runnings.
Ooh. I've watched Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
That's a Disney movie, isn't it?
That is a Disney movie. Yeah.
We love Disney here.
Yeah, we adore it.
These are cookies, by the way. Well, just bought loads of snacks because we knew we were going to be here for a while. So
yeah, we knew we were going to be here for half a day. Yeah, and Casper was one of the films when I was growing up that was kind of like
Casper's the ghost, obviously.
Casper, but it was one of those things where they decided to turn a cartoon into a real film
live action.
Yeah,
like The Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, actually, Who Framed Roger Rabbit's at the end of mine for Dolby.
No.
Yeah, but it's another one of those things where they had a bout of turning animated stuff actually into proper films. So about 1997 or something, I can't remember what it is.
Late 80s, early 90s, I'd say.
Yeah, so I think Casper's about 96. Something silly like that. 95.
Good.
And you've got also films around that time. They even turned like Thomas the Tank Engine into a real film. Which it's got Alec Baldwin in it.
Really?
Yeah,
he
takes over as the Fat Control. It was made for the American market, so they put him down as.
There's so many there's like the TV movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of TV movies,
and then if I put in live action.
Yeah, but weirdly,
Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
That's it. It's got
2000.
It's got Pete Fonda in it. It's got her who played Matilda.
Oh yeah, Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin plays the Fat Controller. And then there's a second one, which is I think The Voyage of Great Discovery, and guess who narrates it? Okay. Pierce Brosnan. Seriously?
Were they on shrooms or something?
They were like, it's just mental. I suppose it was
they just kids threw a dartboard at whichever actor we want. Right.
We want a Bond actor.
Is that Pierce Brosnan? Yeah, I know you're really busy with James Bond, but do you want to be in Thomas the Tank?
Love your work on GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies. Could you do the voice of Thomas?
Could you do the voice of Thomas? That'd be great.
There's only one person that could have done it, but I'd love to have seen it done by Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I've had it with these trains not running. I've had it with these trains. Cool Runnings is based off a true story, isn't it?
Yeah, the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Yes. So 3 of them are runners, aren't they? They're athletes, but they don't make it.
Yeah, 3 of them wanted to run the 100 metres, and they don't get picked for the Olympic team. And so they go, well, we can't just sit here and do nothing. What can we do? And they decide to make a bobsled
I
team,
feel
which had never
I feel
been
very
done.
bad, but I can't remember the actor from Home Alone who's in it. The guy who gets them together.
John Candy.
John Candy.
John Candy,
Yeah,
one of the best actors.
He seems like the type of actor because they say don't ever meet like your heroes or whatever.
Yeah.
To me, he seems like that guy in real life.
He's one of those people who, from what I'm told, obviously I didn't know him, but he's one of those people. I didn't know. Who's a bit like Robin Williams.
Yes.
Who I know.
Morgan Freeman.
I know a lot of people around that time, the 80s, early 90s, who, again, they meet a lot of people as they go up through the film thing. And a lot of them knew each other off of things like Saturday Night Live and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
SNL,
Blues Brothers, the Blues Brothers, and that obviously was an act they had on there.
Well, you got like your Adam Sanders, Chris Rocks,
Chris Rocks, and before that you had exactly like John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, all those guys that were coming up through at the time. And do you know who Robin Williams' best mate was?
No.
Christopher Reeve.
Oh,
Superman.
Superman.
Yeah. And again, he used to work. He was saying,
I'm going to come off of the Thomason film from my Google. Just 1 second. There we go. Sorry.
But apparently he did a film called Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes. Yeah. Robin Williams. Yeah.
And he plays a DJ Croner who basically
talk to the troops.
Yes. Rather than being during the things like Vietnam, Korea, and all that kind of thing, they would have these radio stations to keep morale up.
Yeah.
And he basically.
They did it in World War II as well.
Yes,
I think it was illegal to listen to it in occupied countries.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that was when this is the BBC. That kind of thing. And he plays this DJ, and he comes in, and rather than the corporate want him to basically go, here's a bit of music, and the news is we're doing very well, and that we're winning. Have fun. Here's some more music. By the way, we're winning. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He comes in, and the first thing he does is he's standing up and goes straight away, "Good morning, Vietnam!" Oh, and he plays Robin Williams as only Robin Williams could.
Yeah.
And he's just coming out with stuff left, right, and centre. And he's like, there's a storm somewhere, so he takes a piss out of that. And then he goes, "It's Hannah! Oh, you dirty bitch! You've been down to more people than the Titanic and everything." And he did it all.
Basically, podcasters before podcasters.
But he did it all ad lib.
Right.
And if you actually listen to the people who made the film, there's about 2 hours, 3 hours of stuff completely ad libbed by Robin Williams.
That's mad.
That they could have made another 2 films, but they didn't because obviously it was a specific film. But they said there's so much stuff in it, and he was just phenomenal. And then you got people like John Candy. John Candy did a load of stuff for other films and that where he said, "Don't pay me."
Yeah, I think is Home Alone paid?
Possibly.
I
don't know. I think Spaceballs as well. He plays Bartholomew, who's the dog.
Oh yeah,
who's Bill Pullman's dog, and it's brilliant. And he did all these things and that, and it's just.
Cool Runnings is a very good feel-good movie.
Yeah, it's a very good feel-good film at the time.
And it's quite funny as well.
It is hilarious. Con Air, you ever seen that?
Yes, I have.
What a film.
Dad loved that movie.
I adore Con Air.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage and John Malkovich.
John Malkovich.
Yeah. It's actually like a really good story.
Yes.
So basically, he is a member of the military service, isn't he? And him and his wife go out for some drinks, and the guy comes to basically rob them, I think.
Yeah, he mugs them, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he punches him basically, but he accidentally kills him. Is that right? Yeah, I remember. And then because Con Air is the type of movie, right? It's on ITV4 and it's an hour in. I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna watch it. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to watch it from the start.
Yeah, because he's put down as a criminal, isn't he? And they're all put on a plane for transfer.
Yeah, Con Air is because convicts on an aeroplane. Yeah. And it's a really good movie, and the convicts. No shock at all. Take over the plane, and then they basically list loads of demands that they want and stuff.
It's like Escape from New York, but in the air.
yeah, basically. Yeah. That's guy from The Thing in it.
John Carpenter.
No, actor.
Kurt Russell.
Thank you. He's also in Fast and Furious. He's the Mr. Nobody.
He's the Mr. Nobody, isn't he? Yeah, he's the numero uno honcho.
A couple of my C's I've got. Commando. Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Schwarzenegger, yep.
Conan the Barbarian or Conan the Destroyer.
Both. Yeah, what was the first one?
Barbarian was 1982, then he did Terminator 84. You can tell because his pectoral muscles are like ridiculous in Conan the Barbarian, because it was his first major movie.
Right, yeah.
And then you look at him in, like, he looks still ridiculously impressive in Terminator.
Yeah.
But you can tell, like, he's...
See, he's the first one that probably, because not long after him, around the 90s, like, I suppose later on, near the 2000s, Hulk Hogan would have done, what was it, The Nanny?
Yeah, he done some really bad B movies. Yeah.
And then, of course, Rock
his
started
best movie
doing...
was Rocky 3.
Rocky 3, yeah. And then, of course, Rock started doing... Well, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, he did, like, Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle, which is with
Stifler,
in it.
Yeah, he did, yes. Sean William Scott.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
How's this coming up this brain? You know what I mean? So, I mean, there might be a 10-year difference, but I know these names. But yeah,
he's just filming Moana. They did a UK premiere or UK sort of promotion event, been done, isn't it?
Yeah. Another movie that I've not watched, but I've heard great things. So
yeah,
Moana. So
Moana, I watched quite a few times because it was Beck and the kids' favourite one of their favourite
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Conan Barbarian, Conan Destroyer, and I've also got Casino Royale. Because
yes. Now, which one?
It was Craig's number. Oh, you got to get Craig. It's I know what you mean.
Yeah. There's two Casino Royales.
Was before. Was it before Doctor No or
no? I think it's about midway through. It's about 67. It's about 67, and
but it's not part of the Bond
It's not part of canon because Broccoli didn't do it,
and it's a spoof.
It's kind of a spoof. It's a comedy where basically
I've not watched it.
So the part of Bond isn't as a spy, but he's basically
quite a famous actor who played
David Niven. Yes,
yeah.
David Niven, and he plays Sir James Bond, who has retired.
Yes,
and they try and get him back out of it. So David Niven, if you don't know, a lot of war films, also Pink Panther, I think as well.
Yeah.
But you got a load of people in it. Woody Allen, I think.
Straight away when you said Casino Royale the original, I was like, I know that actor. And he's been in some good. Yeah, Pink Panther. You're right.
He's down.
Around the World in 80 Days. Probably the original.
Yeah. Guns
and
Navroni, all that kind of thing.
I know. Sorry, guys, you can't see the screen, but why do the movie posters for like the 50s and 60s look so much better than they do?
They're
today?
Awesome, aren't they?
They look. The artwork
they are
is
awesome.
Not even back like 40s and 30s movies. The posters are like. It makes me intrigued to want to watch it because the posters so.
Because you can build it.
Yeah.
And even though everybody sits there and goes, well, I've got a laptop now, I can make this. I've got a graphics card that can do that. But you're still limited by that.
Yeah. Or that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And whereas the 50s, it was a big part of it. That you didn't have this or this. All you had was that poster either at the front of the cinema or in a bus stop.
Like you could do them movies now, but they're better because they've been left in that.
Yeah.
I don't want to remake of them movies. I'll keep them as they are. Same with the Bond movie. If Bonds start to get remade for like the newer generation, I'll be like, don't do anything to my movie. Yeah.
But Casino Royale is
Craig's first movie, 2006, I think it came out. I think it's not Craig's best movie.
It's his start out one.
Yeah, a lot of people were critical of Craig to be Bond.
I think he's been really good.
Yeah, because he didn't have the black hair and all that. I think that's very petty stuff. I really like Daniel Craig as Bond.
I think he's good.
He's not my favourite Bond.
No,
I think I'll get into that as we move on. But
it's also the first book. Casino Royale
it is the first book. Yeah. Oh, great actor who plays the bad guy as well, Lashif.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, it's like a Nordic name, isn't it?
Yes.
Because he's in Rogue One as well, isn't he? The actor.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what.
Yeah, Mads.
There we go.
Mads Mikkelsen. So you can hear you probably won't be able to hear him. But
that was God.
Yeah,
there's nobody else.
Yeah, he just came down. It's like Ned Flanders. Like, save my time. Thanks, God.
There's people there going, that sounds like James. No, it's God.
No, it's God, actually. Yeah. Great Bond movie to start off with. Great music as well. What was it? What was it? It's like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
For the song.
It's not Chris Cornell, is it?
It is. I think you're
Chris
right.
Cornell?
Yeah.
I'll be.
Yeah. Yeah, you know my name. You know my name. And Craig's just coming towards the screen.
Do you know what?
Like,
I first heard the song on Absolute Radio. I didn't hear it on the thing. They played it, and I was like,
this is a banger. It's the type of song that could be on like I don't know. You've probably not played many of them, but like the FIFA games. They used to always have banger like indie songs and stuff like that. Like like that could have been definitely in it.
There
James is in the background.
There is a shocker that I don't play much sports, let alone sports games.
Yeah. But shall we move to the D's?
Well, I've got a couple.
C's?
I've got a couple
Yeah.
that I will mention. We've said about John Carpenter and composers and everything.
Yeah.
The Crow. You ever watched The Crow?
Yes.
What a film!
It's
What a film!
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee.
But he's not in the whole movie because he died of a defective gun blast.
Yeah, defective again.
Yeah.
Again, it seems to be an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
but
when Alec Baldwin as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, that was a real gun.
That was a real gun.
That was a real gun.
But apparently there's a lot of stigmata with that as well about the person who was setting it up and that. They've been checked a couple of times and blah 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 blah. But yeah, Brendan Lee again the same thing because of his dad, Bruce Lee. Again, that was a weird thing.
It's not a Tim. Is it? It's not a Tim Burton movie, but it looks like a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, it's very gothic.
Yeah,
it is very gothic.
It definitely was inspired by.
Yes, yeah.
Because it's after Batman Returns. It was like late 90s, wasn't it? The Crow.
93. Try 93.
94.
Ooh,
good though. Good guess.
But yeah, so.
Yeah, but he looks like.
Oh yeah.
He looks like. Well, obviously, it was before Sting's character in WCW.
Yeah.
But he looks like Crow Sting from WCW.
It does. Yeah. I will say another little thing, because I like a lot of the old Italian horror films and everything, of which Contamination.
I love the spaghetti westerns.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of
Contamination.
Contamination. It's a terrible.
1980.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. That's it.
Another great movie poster. By the way.
Yeah, but it was what you got to remember is that for America,
crew squirting eggs to their sauce.
Yeah,
a one-eyed monster from Mars.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
What we kind of have now,
Luigi Cozzi.
Luigi Cozzi, yeah. So there's a lot of these.
Sorry
Italian,
if I pronounced that wrong.
Italian Spanish directors, Michel Sovi, Lamberto Bava, Jess Franco, all those kind of people who just enjoyed making films, but making them as open as possible. So there is a lot of gore, there is a lot of sex, there is a lot of nudity, there's a lot of murder, crime, thriller stuff, and everything. But back then, the certification, especially in the European part of the world, I wouldn't say was lax. They were just a lot more open.
Yeah. I think it started to really become more of a thing when video games.
Video games, and again, that's down more to Japan really than us.
Yeah, Japan.
Because of course, obviously at the time there was two separate versions of doing a video game.
Yeah.
Most of the time it would be either North America would be the release,
the version,
or which is close to what the Japanese version would be, or it would be released as PAL, which is 4x3 for TV screens.
Yeah.
And that would be basically Europe, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at the time, certification, especially for Britain, Ireland, America, was a bit
lax.
It wasn't so much that they were quite kind of. They weren't so
not
much
anything
open.
Goes.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't everything goes, but it wasn't so much as open as an art form. And then you had the French, the Germans, the Italians, and Spanish who were doing films like this and were basically going, "We'll tell the story."
Yeah.
And they were doing it on not a lot of money. So it looks fake, which is what we call
sort of like a Doctor Who,
it
from the
looks
60s
fake.
and 70s.
It's a B movie and everything, but all they really wanted to do was tell a story. And you will find in a lot of those films, there's a lot of actors. It was their starting point.
Yeah.
The B movies were their starting point.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere though. You can't
exactly. It was a payday. Yeah, it was a payday.
Daisy Ridley, for example. No one knew of Daisy Ridley before Star Wars. No one knew of Mark Hamill before. But people did know of Daniel Radcliffe because he had been on. Yeah. So he'd been in movies and stuff.
This will show you
most are thrusted in, aren't they? Which is it's a gamble. Isn't it? If it pays off, then you're worldwide known.
This will show you the Wikipedia of my brain when it wants to work. So do you know what links the theatre show, The Ghost Train, to Daisy Ridley?
No.
So
something to do with a family, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, but in a weird way. So The Ghost Train was written by a bloke called Arnold Ridley.
Okay.
Arnold Ridley is her dad.
Right.
Arnold Ridley played what's it in Dad's Army? The old fella.
Oh, okay. Bloody hell. Arnold Ridley, playwright and actor.
Him.
Yeah.
So he plays in Dad's Army.
Yeah.
He played Godfrey. That's her.
Are you sure this is?
That's her dad.
That's her dad. You sure?
Yeah. Sure it is.
great niece.
That's it. Yeah, I knew there was a link somewhere.
Yeah, great niece. I was going to say when it was coming up with kids.
And he wrote.
So this guy was born in 1896. When did he have
I knew it was the next step away, but they're linked. But he wrote the Ghost Train.
Served in the military as well.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was a
captain.
Yeah, he was really high in that.
He was in the battle.
But
of
a
France.
lot of them were. A lot of them were from that, and then into 70s, 80s, and all that. A lot of them were in the army.
Yeah.
But
most actors from like the 50s or 60s were military.
And it was on a show where they went, he's his niece or goddaughter or something.
Ronald Reagan was an actor, wasn't he? Before he became
president. Before he became president. Yeah. This thing of like Trump coming in as a businessman.
But everyone keeps saying
it's
that
not
Trump
a new,
is
it's
the
not
new
a new
Reagan.
thing.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing.
No.
So
you got any other C's?
Italian. The only other real C as well, because we've gone through like Christine, Croc Dundee, brilliant films. But the only other two main ones was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Steven Spielberg film.
Yes.
77, I want to say. But
yes, because
Richard Dreyfuss.
I know why it was 70. Fun fact. Because Spielberg and Lucas had a bet which one of their movies would make more money, A New Hope or Close Encounters of the First Kind.
Yeah.
And the bet was something to do with like 1% of the box office.
Yeah.
And obviously we know who won that one.
Yeah.
But I think Close Encounters still did really well. But
Close Encounters kind of is another one of those ones that did well after the
It's something like that.
I mean, we got to be honest as well. A New Hope didn't really pick up until afterwards.
No, but it was that
it
time. It was that groundbreaking.
Well, I mean, 70s, the late 70s. You just got to look at the films that were out. I mean, Silent Running, Black Hole, Star Trek Motion Picture, Moonraker.
So Spielberg proposed a bet tied directly to the Mutual Respect, offering Lucas 2.5% of Close Encounters, and in return he got 2.5%.
Christ!
So you know who profit.
Crikey, they didn't need to make a film after that, really.
Yeah. So he lost $40 million of that time in the 70s. 40 million in the 70s was worth a lot of money.
And another black and white film. It's a war film. After Close Encounters, The Cruel Sea, which is based on a book.
Okay.
And The Cruel Sea is a brilliant film, and it's where I really got my kind of
1953.
Yeah, it's where I kind of got my romance of film. So loads of people in it. So Donald Sinden, Denholm Elliott, who you will know from Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Virginia McKenna, who's in loads of films at the time. Stanley Baker, who most people will know
is
from
the guy who gets Indy to find the ark.
Got lost in his own museum.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you've got Jack Hawkins, brilliant actor in a few horrors after when it became colour and everything. Right. Stanley Baker, who a lot of people will know from Zulu.
Jack Hawkins was also in Zulu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so he plays the Reverend, doesn't he? Who's tipsy most of the time or whatever it is. But yeah, so it's based upon a book by a guy I think called Nicholas Montserrat, who based it off of his own thing during the war. He served on a Flower class corvette. I think it was either Bluebell or one of the two that was actually doing stuff during World War II, and they built these ships out of old whaling ships.
Right.
And they called them a corvette, so they're really quite a small ship, and not much bigger than a destroyer, about the same size as a destroyer. And they were called Flower class, and they were all named after bits and bobs. But in his book, he names the ship the Compass Rose.
Right.
And you basically follow the crew. And there's little bits in it as well where there's two mates. He's the engineer and I think like the signals officer, who basically he likes his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And so he takes her on a date and they're going to get married and everything. Yeah. And there's loads of little things. One follows his brother. One's got a missus who's playing around and whatnot. And they're on Compass Rose, and there's this beautiful thing at the beginning, which is the preface of the book, which basically say how the bugger really is war itself. Each side thinks they're fighting for the right reason, no matter what they're told, but the real fucker is war itself. Mm. And at the end of it, the heroes are the people who serve on the heroine is the ship. The ship looks after the blokes looks after the ship. Yeah. And that's where we get the thing for calling them she.
Right, okay.
So things like cars, ships, planes, ships especially, and trains, locomotives, we call them she. Mm. Because there's this thing of if you treat them like a lady and look after them, they'll look after you back. Yeah. That's where it comes from. And in the middle of it, they come back, and when they come back to port, the place has been blown to bits, and they go to see the sister, and she's been killed. And then they go back out one more time and go, we'll do one more, and they go out one more time, and the ship's sunk, and they lose a load of people. But it's like literally a snapshot in time for the entire thing. And they go, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we'll blow this up, we'll get U-boats, we'll do that, which was their point.
There's so many movies post World War II ones that were made not that far after World War II.
They really used
like
real places.
Far,
like
that,
they actually used ships and that at the time were actually during the conflict. They actually used them.
It's crazy.
And they sat there and went, right, so this was like a brutal war, especially when the U-boats were after shipping in the North Atlantic. The weather was shit. There were U-boats everywhere, and you didn't know if you were going to come back. And they sit there and they were like, we survived it, but they only blew up 2 U-boats in years' time.
U-boats are impossible to find.
Yeah, exactly. But it was one of those films where I fell in love with cinema. How it was told, how it was filmed, the music, the story and everything. But it's a bit of a romantic-y thing for me, but I love that film.
I like hearing about these movies that are not really talked about, but
moving on to D nicely. Have you got any more for C?
No.
Right. So
I've literally only got 3 for each, and you've got like about 10 for each.
No. Well, Deadpool we've already mentioned.
Yep.
So that, and the other one I was going to mention that I thought might be up your alley was Doom. Doom with The Rock.
I've heard it was terrible.
It was a terrible film.
Yeah.
It was a terrible film. And it was another one of those things that I was going to prove about, is that sometimes just because you can make it,
don't make it.
You shouldn't.
Because I've seen like clips of it, and they try to actually do a first person part of the movie.
Yeah, there's a bit when near the end and that where he's going to go after the Rock and that, where Carl Urban, I think it is, they literally do it as the first person shooter of the game.
Yeah, and it's just like,
and it was like, okay, it was, I get what you're doing, but it's a bit cringy.
Yeah, it is.
Which is a shame.
It's like pandering to
it was like, please love me.
Yeah, it's like pandering to the fans of the Doom video game series.
Again, another spoof that I like that's got Kelsey Grammer in it, and people probably know as Frasier, called Down Periscope. If you want to laugh, watch that. It's hilarious.
1996.
It doesn't take itself seriously at all. There's loads of people.
Rob Schneider's in it.
Yeah, Rob Schneider, Bruce Dern, Harry Dean Stanton, Lauren Holly. There are loads of people in it. What's his face? Who's in the American version of? Is it Shameless? William H Macy. He's in it.
Right.
Yeah, there's loads of people in it. It's hilarious.
Okay.
But it's like
it's on Disney Plus as well.
Yeah, again, watch it. It's a funny little film. It's a funny, silly little film. Now, as I said, leading on from Cruel Sea, Dam Busters.
I've heard of it. Yeah, obviously.
Again, they used real They used real Lancasters. Mark IV or whatever it is that has the belly cut
again,
out.
It's probably
for Dam.
The time for it is
again.
It's probably 1955, like 10
so
years after
again,
the war.
Big people in it who were in it at the time. Michael Redgrave, Richard Todd.
I don't know if that's the same for other wars. Like, did they make Vietnam movies 10 years after Vietnam? Like Apocalypse Now was 1978.
You've
maybe.
And again,
and that's less than 10 years.
When we get to M, that's another thing I would say about now. I can say about it now actually because we brought it up. Then I don't have to do it later. But there's a film called MASH.
Yeah.
And MASH was done by...
Is that a TV series as well?
Now that's the thing. The film come out before the series.
Right, okay.
And the people who play the characters... So you've got Donald Sutherland. You've got Robert Duvall, I think. Sally Kellerman, who plays Hot Lips. You've got... Who played... Elliot Gould.
Right.
And they all play the characters.
I've just thought of something for a movie, and I'm going to write it down.
Far away.
No, for later, much later.
Oh, okay. And they play the characters of Hawkeye, Frank Burns. The only person who's in it, who is then in the series, is Gary Berghoff, who plays Radar. And
why was that? Why did they not continue over to the
Now,
TV
that's the interesting thing, because though they dropped it, even the person who plays Father Mulcahy, who I know, was a bloke called René Auberjonois, who...
What a name.
Apparently he's no longer with us, but was a lovely bloke apparently. But he was in a few things, and then he got cast to play the constable on Deep Space Nine for Star Trek.
Right, okay.
Which is where a load of people would know him from. But he did a load of films beforehand. It's like DeForest Kelly, who plays McCoy in Star Trek in the original series.
Yeah.
He was in tons of westerns. William Shatner, before he got cast as Kirk, was in a load of like Alfred Hitchcock, Half Hour, Leonard Nimoy. They did like things like The Twilight Zone, things like that. Which a lot of those characters, those
a lot of these things or people you're talking about, I've heard of them, but I've never really like either watched them or watched them.
So they are about all they've been redone.
I know, obviously, like, you can't not know like bloody Leonard Nimoy. Like.
I mean, there's loads of stuff now that's being we were only talking about it the other night. They're redoing You Bet, which was a TV show I used to watch as a kid on a Saturday night on ITV.
Right.
That used to be Bruce Forsyth did it, and then Matthew Kelly did it, and that's the one that I remember was brilliant. Yeah. And then Darren Day did it, and they used to have people coming in. They'd say the challenge. They go, I can name this, or I can do that. I mean, there was bloke where a bloke was running around,
and they are Hollywood being.
They've redone it. They've done 2 episodes. That's the original.
Right. Okay.
With Matthew Kelly and that, and Bruce Forsyth did it before. It ran for like something like 8 years. It was a brilliant show.
9 years.
Yeah, it was a brilliant show. And what would happen? It's one of the first ones where
it's based off a German series, TV series.
That's bet.
Most happen like that, don't they? They like something takes off in like the UK and then the US.
A lot of our running around like action games or running around like in. Assault courses.
Like Hole in the Wall probably wasn't a UK thing.
No, well, a lot of
someone just went, that looks good.
A lot of our TV shows and that where there's people running around in like Krypton Factor or things like where they're running around assault courses is all based off of Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah.
Which is a Japanese series.
Yeah.
But yeah, You Bet was this thing where basically for the first time they got people in. There was celebs and that who would say, yes, they can do it, they can't do it. How many points was then turned into pounds? And they gave it all away for charity. Nobody won anything.
Right.
It was just purely, can you do it? And if you do it, you make money for charity. And it was
like Family Fortunes and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was, but way before. I mean, Family Fortune had been going since the 70s. And that was before Les Dennis. On that one, there was Max Bygraves? Something like that. Christ, my poor brain. Anyway, the only other thing I was going to say was Dr. No. Dr. No was
the original,
the first
1962.
Film, but it's not the first book. But it was the first film that was
Sean
done
Connery.
by and of course Ursula Andress coming out. Brilliant.
It's the first time you hear the
yes, Monty Norman. It's the first time you hear the actual theme,
the
if
original
you like.
music.
Yeah, and again,
I've got a couple for D.
It's Genesis, isn't it? It's that first film.
Oh yeah, without that you don't get the others. That's why you can't ever shit on the first movie or the first game in the series.
Do you know what? I've been saying that for years about Trek because a lot of people don't like the motion picture because it's so far different from the series, but it's very much a special effects one. And you're like, well, if we didn't have that, you wouldn't have Rafa Khan afterwards, and which everybody adores.
That's why if someone on anything that's the first, like if it's Philosopher's Stone, if it's whatever. You can't shit on that because you don't get the rest of them.
Don't piss with Genesis because it.
My other 2 Ds were Die Hard.
Die
Hard. Great movie. I like Die Hard 1. Die Hard 2's okay. Die Hard 3's better than 2. And then after that, it's like.
See, I like 2 and 3.
Right.
I like 2 and 3. I adored number 2 because it was the first one I watched.
Right. Okay. Same actor who's the T-1000 is in that movie as well. He's literally just like one of the bad guys.
Robert Patrick.
Yeah, so guy's walking along and he goes, "Hey buddy, what do I look like to you?" And he goes, "A sitting duck," and he shoots him and he starts a firefight.
Yeah, Robert.
It's the conveyor belt with the SWAT team.
Yes,
we're going in with the SWAT team.
Yeah.
And then like there's a part where Bruce Willis is like. Well, John McClane. There's a guy above, and he's like shooting him through the thing, and the thing falls down.
Yeah, and he's on his back.
And then it's basically the radio tower that they thought was there, but it's not. It's like basically a trap. They trap him in, and the guy thinks the radio tower's there or something like that, but it's not.
Oh right, I didn't know that.
And they find out it's in that old church, the abandoned church.
Yes, the abandoned church on the side of the But
Die Hard, love the movies. They're like them easy watching movies, sort of like
you know what you're going to get with them, don't you?
Exactly, like Con Air. Like you're an hour in, it's like I don't care, I'm watching it until it ends.
You know what you're going to get with them.
And my other one was Django Unchained.
I've never seen it.
Wow,
that's another one I've got.
Django Unchained. It's Quentin Tarantino. Like.
It is a Tarantino.
It's not my favourite. Like it's not even in my.
I think that's what I've heard a lot of.
Yeah,
it's a Tarantino film, but it's not his best, and I'm like. Well, I'm used to the ones that you would probably say are the best. So.
But it's still worth the watch. Like, there are some memorable scenes. And it's got Christopher Waltz in it from other Tarantino movies, which I'm not going to mention because it deserves its own place.
Yeah, it's got
when we get there. When we get there, we're still in D's.
We're getting there. Actually, we're ahead of schedule because last time we only did 2, and we're at D, and we're halfway through this one. So
that's my D's. Are you happy with D?
Right. The only couple that I've got is again a bit of a childhood thing that got me into Who really, other than my teachers, was Doctor Who and the Daleks. But when Peter Cushing was the Doctor,
yes, yeah.
So
I didn't mind his Doctor.
I really like him as the Doctor.
I watched it. Yeah.
So he did 2. He did Doctor Who and the Daleks, where the first one was his companions was Roberta Tovey, who plays his daughter.
Yeah.
He has 2 daughters in it, and the guy in it is played by a bloke called Roy Castle, who was a lovely bloke. Apparently, I think he died with cancer. Played the trumpet. Was lovely. Apparently, a lovely, lovely person.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the first boy companion. He was the elder sister's boyfriend in it. And then for the next one, which wasn't called Doctor Who, it was called Dalek Invasion Earth 2150 AD, which was based off of the TV series version, which was called the Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Yeah, which I've watched that version, but not the...
Yeah. And the film had Peter Cushing, Roberta Tovey, and I can't remember if it was the Jenny person again, I can't remember. But the person who played the part that Roy Castle played before was Bernard Cribbins. So Bernard Cribbins has actually been in all the versions of Doctor Who.
Oh my!
I think he's in one of the classics as well. But yeah, so because he's in, I know he's in Tennant's Doctor, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is it Donna's granddad?
Yeah. What an actor!
Yeah. Brilliant actor.
I loved him in like Tennant's.
He was great.
Yeah,
he was great. Yeah.
Dalek Invasion.
Yeah.
The
2150 AD. Yeah, and he's in that one. But it was done by a company called Aru, and Aru were in the 70s. There were 60s and 70s. There were loads of companies that were basically making films. It wasn't like the big. I mean, they existed. Obviously, Universal's been going for ages because they
mega. You mean like the mega?
Yeah. So Universal and Paramount, they've been doing shows and that for God knows how long.
You're watching a Universal movie. As soon as you see the globe,
But they really started with all the proper horror stuff. Werewolves, Frankenstein and all that is all Universal. Dracula.
Or Fox.
Fox, Fox. So Fox, they've been going quite a while.
Yeah.
But they're the 2 oldest, I think, are Universal and Paramount. And at the time, to make films, you needed money. And a lot of people who were millionaires at the time go, I'll do it, that kind of thing. But as long as they got something, they would do like their company name in it for advertising.
They're not doing it for good.
Yeah, no. And again, but a lot of companies, just to keep afloat, would take any work that they could get. So at the time, you would have heard of Hammer Horror.
Heard of it?
Hammer Horror at the time did a lot of my favourite films, like Dracula, Prince of Darkness, which is...
Christopher Lee.
Good old Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And again, Frankenstein.
And also, is it Alan Cush? No.
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing.
Who is the Doctor Who, which is why I put them together.
Yeah. And also, or am I... No, Peter Cushing is...
he plays his friend...
Tarkin in Star Wars.
Yeah, Tarkin in Star Wars. Who, by the way, just a little comfy note, all the entire time he's blowing up Alderaan, he's actually wearing slippers.
Yes, because they never see. Yeah, because his feet were like.
He was knackered, bless him. But of course, he's also Christopher Lee's Van Helsing.
Yes.
But yeah, so and they were all Hammer Horror, but of course Hammer, to get a bit more money as well, were doing all loads of films because they actually had the contract.
Is Hammer? It's British based.
But they did everything from Dracula all the way to the On the Buses films.
Right.
I think even possibly the Steptoe and Son films were done by them as well. But yeah, and they would take on anything. But yeah, Doctor Who and Dracula, Prince of Darkness, all those Hammer Horrors, I love them. The only other one that I would mention for D is a film called Jewel, which is Steven Spielberg's... I don't think it's his first proper film. It might be.
1971?
Yeah, but it's basically a bloke in a car being hunted down by a whopping great articulated lorry.
Okay, yeah, looks it, yeah.
It's a doozy.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I think it might even be his first film. I'm not sure.
The film received general positive reviews with still direction. Cult classic.
Yeah,
that's a.
I do like cult classic.
That's films. A really overused word. Cult classic.
See, back then when I was a kid, cult classic wasn't. The only ones you could really say were like Wars, because there was only 3 of them. You were a cult classic follower if you were like because it was classed as a space opera, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah,
because it's all about family. Spoilers. This is his sister, that kind of thing.
Jewel is his first movie.
Yeah, Jewel is his first film. It's not his first thing into it, but it's certainly...
Yeah, it's his extended first movie, because it was an amateur film, his first one, but you can't class
But then
that.
so was Lucas. It's like, if you look at, what is it, TH1138? That was his first film, I think, something like that. And John Carpenter with Dark Star, that kind of thing. Right. They all have these first ones where you go, ooh, there we are,
1971.
There you go.
God, your brain knows no bounds.
It does. It doesn't know anything about dieting or anything.
Oh, yeah. They're the less important things. So, you happy with D? Now?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. E. Empire Strikes Back. Best Star Wars movie ever made. 1980.
I would say Empire bucks the trend of the middle films being shit in a trilogy.
Whoa. Well, it depends, because the second Star Wars movie, Terminator movie, technically isn't part of a trilogy, is it? It's it is. No, but it's its own story. Whereas A New Hope carries on from. So Empire carries on from A New Hope.
I think the problem is as well is timing. Because a lot of people, you'll sit there and go, Rise of the Machines really was just a... let's see how Terminator does in the new
let's get Arnie back. And,
before he gets too old, let's give him a go. Pardon me, which is what I think it was. Two Towers, I love the story for Lord of the Rings, really, really do. Helm's Deep and everything, but Fellowship and Return of the King are
Fellowship. I love Fellowship of the Ring.
Fellowship's one of my Fs, actually. Yeah. As we mentioned before, Escape from New York and Escape from LA, another John Carpenter film.
Yeah.
I just love John Carpenter.
I've got E.T. down as well. Funny story for you.
I haven't.
Funny story for E.T. I went on the ride before I watched the movie. I knew about the movie. Obviously, everyone knows E.T. But because I went to Universal in first time I went.
I was going to say you've been there a couple of times, haven't you?
I've been there 4 times, and I'm going a 5th time next year as well. 90 odd days, I think I've got.
When you're a YouTuber and make millions.
Yeah. No, that ain't gonna happen. It's an oversaturated market now. But there is way too many people doing things like this right now. I went on the ride first. I thought, this is great. And then I watched the movie, and when it's it was probably great for people. It's still, as an I've really enjoyed watching the movie.
I think there's this habit, isn't there?
It wasn't as good as you remember it, sort of thing.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's the trouble with going back to things. Is that, and again, it's another one of these things of going back to music, films, TV series when you were young, and sitting there going, no, it's not as good.
Yeah.
And you were like, you were a kid.
Yeah.
There is that habit of
imagination as well.
Yeah, and you never get the first time again.
Yeah.
You never get the first time again.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's like playing a video game. That shock or that certain
I think that's why I have
the game.
Yeah, I think that's why I have a few video games, but I haven't played them for a while because I'm like,
I want to hold off this.
I don't want to ruin it for myself.
I want to hold off playing this. Yeah, I bought Silent Hill 2, the remake, but I've not played it yet.
You've not played it?
I'm waiting for the perfect time to play it.
Yeah, what is that, the HD remaster?
No, it's an actual fully
redo.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't got that. Mind you, I've got to get a new Xbox.
Yeah, Silent Hill 2.
I've got to get a new Xbox.
Yeah, that's the poster for it.
When's that out?
It's already out.
I bet you I can't play it on my Xbox.
No, they've released it. It's only on PlayStation for 1 year, and then it's getting released everywhere else.
Yeah, because
they've got Konami have got a deal with them.
So I've got the 1S. And there's a load of games I can't play at the moment because it'll go, no, you need the X. I can't do it. And I'm like, oh, for the love of it. So Space Marine 2, I can't play.
Right.
Bloody new Forza, I can't play. And I'm like, oh, no.
I've only got one other E because obviously free per letter. Elf. I love Elf. I think it's one of the best Christmas movies.
I can't stand it.
Really? Can't stand Elf? Oh, I think it's a great movie.
I can't stand it.
Any other? Well, you've probably got loads of these.
I have, a couple. I mentioned a couple already. Enter the Dragon, which is Bruce Lee.
Yes.
Which is
1971, 73.
You're looking at around that time. So it's kind of after
1973.
It's after all.
Isn't it like something? It's like a tournament for loads of people, but then it actually turns out it's like something to do with drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much most of how that kind of kung fu Jackie Chan
Genre.
kind of film usually is. I mean,
Yeah.
Rush Hour is the same kind. I love Rush Hour, but it's that kind of thing. But it's one of those ones where you got John Saxon, who is the guy who's trying. I mean, again, I
He's
think
in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
yes,
yeah,
and I
the
think
dad of Nancy.
Yeah, and I think as you go on as well, it kind of started this thing of, again, weirdly, where we were talking about wrestlers with Hulk and The Rock,
Yeah.
and again, I mean, okay, not so much. A little bit with Arnold Schwarzenegger because he was a bodybuilder. He was Mr. World, wasn't he?
Yeah, Mr. Universe.
Yeah.
Mr. Universe.
But again, I mean, another one, John Carpenter film. One of my favourite wrestlers, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Oh my god, yeah.
And he was in. He
They
did
Live, innit?
Hell Comes to
Is it They
Frogtown. They Live, which
Yeah,
is brilliant.
yeah.
I never forget the thing on that one, which was brilliant. It was like Rowdy Roddy Piper. All he wants to do is kick ass and chew gum.
Oh, yeah.
And he's all out of gum.
No, it's
and I loved it.
I came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
Yeah.
And I'm all out of
And I'm all out of gum.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what a film.
Such a good
That's
line.
the Carpenter film, late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
88, something like that. 87.
Yeah. You know, because Roddy Piper looks like really young.
But he did another one, another film, another B movie, which was called Hell Comes to Frogtown. And he plays this singer like Jim Hell is his name or something.
Right.
And he rescues all these women from the terrible frog people. And it was like, oh, really? They must have just looked at it and go, what is this?
Yeah, what have I signed up for?
What is this? And they go,
Oh.
when can I have it, boy?
Yeah.
And the only other two I really had was Expendables.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't mind them.
Sort of like Con Air to me.
Con Air.
You know, watch it, but I'm not going to be like, oh my god.
Yeah, I don't mind it because it's like, spot the celebrity a little bit.
Yeah. It's like
as you go through.
It's like watching the music video for Feed the World. Like
it's like,
oh, that's George Michael. That's it's like that.
Hang on a minute, is that song like that?
Yeah.
And because you get like number 2, number 3, and you're like, hang on a minute, that's Kelsey Grammer.
Hang
on a minute, that's Ronda Rousey.
That's Ronda Rousey. Yeah. It's like, what's she doing in this movie?
And one of my favourite films, which is spoof comedy, Evolution.
No,
David Duchovny.
2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
Juliette Moore. Sean William Scott's in it. Orlando Jones is in it.
Blimey. Okay.
It's even got Sarah Silverman's in it, and even Dan Aykroyd I think is in it. He's the mayor of the town.
Right.
It's a silly film and it's brilliant.
I've never heard of this before in my life. It's on Netflix as well.
Right, you'll be watching that tonight.
I'll write it down. Comedy sci-fi does sound quite good.
It's hilarious. There's this giant alien monster that comes from it.
C, by the way. Guy at work. Shout out to Alan. Casino. Casino.
Yes.
Yeah.
Long time ago, but yeah.
Apparently that's really good.
Yes.
I need to watch it.
That's Scorsese.
Don't.
Who's that? Who did that?
Like director.
Yeah.
1995. Martin Scorsese. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, obviously it's Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. Yeah. Of course it's. Of course it's him.
It's a full
James Woods as well. What an actor, James Woods.
That's after Goodfellas, isn't it?
Yeah. Goodfellas was 99.
Yeah. You ever seen? It's a Kevin Costner film. Is it Untouchables?
He's looked at my list.
Have you got it?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right, we'll talk about that then.
Yeah.
Because I have not seen
Sean
that.
Connery.
I have not seen that. Yeah, no, I haven't seen
Put
that.
that down now. Not the drink, I mean the movie title. Right. So you happy to go to F?
Yeah, I've already turned over.
Yep. F. Fast and Furious.
Yes.
I love them movies.
They are good.
They are good. I actually prefer the middle of the movie. Because there's like 10 now. I prefer like the middle part.
Because then Hobbs and Shaw's an extra one, isn't it?
That's 11. Yeah. So I really like 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
But then like 8, 9, 10 was good. Part 1,
10,
isn't it?
Yeah, 10. Yeah, they're doing it.
It's got Jason.
Which makes me wonder if they're getting rid of it.
Whatever his name is.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, Momoa. Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones.
Aquaman.
Yeah, Aquaman as well, yeah. But I like the Fast and Furious. I was late to the Fast and Furious party. I think the 8th one had come out and I was like, what's the hype about these movies? And I watched the first one, I was like, it's okay. Like, you can see it's 8. It's like watching the first Resident Evil movie.
Well, I watched the first one. I then had the second one but didn't watch it. And then Tokyo Drift come out.
Yeah, Tokyo Drift.
And I watched Tokyo Drift and I was like, it's good.
Yeah.
But I can see we're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
And then I think...
Yeah, it got some sort of like energy to it.
Well,
like,
I worked at Curry's for a bit, and there were a load of us that would go and see films and that still do every now and then.
Yeah.
And I think number 8 had come out. No, hang on a minute. What's the one after What's It Dies?
Oh, Paul...
Yeah, Walker.
Yeah, Paul Walker. That's
Is that
7.
6?
7. He's in 7.
7, so I think
it's 7's when they go through one building into another building.
I think it's that one we went and saw at the cinema. And
that's the one with Ronda Rousey in.
That's the one that I thought was really, really
good. 6 is the one with Gina Carano in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 is Gina Carano.
Yeah.
5 is when Rock first turns
up.
Yeah.
So I watched that one and I thought
5's the one that's in Brazil that then links to 10.
Ah, right.
The events of 5 because they robbed them safes, didn't they? And the Rock thinks he's got all his money back, but the safe actually they switch the safe.
They switch the safe.
That's probably my favourite Fast Furious movie.
See, that's where they become kind of. Where they were cars and
more like
things
spy,
like they now become this kind of
movie.
espionage.
Not to do with cars.
Yeah. Kind of like Italian Job on steroids.
It's like we'll still mention cars.
Yeah,
but it's not
they're there, but I love.
Dom must have one street race, and then it's still a Fast and Furious.
Yeah. But I can see part 2 being the last one.
I think there's 3 parts.
Oh, crap.
I think there is a 3 part. Yeah, me and my brother were thinking of this, and I think they are doing it as a 3 part ending. I think.
Yeah.
Because the movie just ends, doesn't it? Like the first part just ends. I think so. But yeah, whilst I'm looking, what's your next?
So
pick?
I've got a couple. Field of Dreams, which is a Kevin Costner film,
yeah.
But brilliant little film. Another little feel good film.
Oh, they're calling it Fast 11 apparently, rather than Fast 10 Part 2 or anything like that. It is the final instalment, so yeah, you're right.
So it is only 2.
You're only doing 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's released for.
So is this the last film, or is there to be another film after it?
No. This is it.
This is it.
According to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's the final instalment.
Oh right. So there we go. Yeah, but yeah.
Because obviously at the end of 10, Dwayne Johnson's, the Rock's there, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like, you son bitch, that sort of thing.
So another Peter Jackson film.
So you said Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, which I think is a brilliant film. The Frighteners.
The Frighteners.
Frighteners. It's a Peter Jackson film.
Before
we did Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. And it's got
obviously.
Michael J. Fox in it as a guy who knows these ghosts.
Right.
And makes his money by getting these ghosts to go round people's houses, do things. He comes up, exercises them, gets money, and then he does it all again at somebody else's house.
Okay.
It's a really clever film. And then, death turns up. This proper ghost turns up, and he doesn't know what to do. And it's really, really good.
Okay.
Really, really good. Good little film.
Yeah. It's on Now TV. That's another subscription thing you can sign up to.
Course,
There's so many. And the thing is, though, certain movies aren't available on certain ones, are they?
That's why I get them on DVD.
Yeah.
Frighteners was one.
Yeah.
Again, John Carpenter, The Fog.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Yeah, because a lot of the members of the Fog, the cast of the Fog, are then in
The
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The starting series of Walking Dead.
Adrienne Barbeau, who plays the DJ at the top of the lighthouse,
Right.
they were married.
Oh, okay, right.
They were married. And there's a lot that have Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Yes, yeah.
There's a couple of older actors in there that are used a couple of times from Fog all the way through to things like Ghosts of Mars, Vampires, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, The Fog is my horror film. The Blake and the crew in The Fog with his eyes. I love it. Yeah, that's another one that I showed Beck and she loved. Yeah, Fog's absolutely.
I've heard of it. I've not watched it. But...
Watch it. Watch the 82, 1980, something like that. 82.
Oh, what movie? I'm thinking of The Mist, aren't I, with the Walking Dead?
That's on later on. That's on later on. That's Thomas Jane.
Yeah, that's
based. So that's based off of the Stephen King
The
novel.
Fog, 1980.
Yes. I love that film.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely adore that film.
Yeah, I have to put that down. Is it just called The Fog? Yeah,
The Fog,
1980.
But then, as we've mentioned before, Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes. Yeah.
Now
I put Lord of the Rings as L, but I'm happy to
see. Now, Fellowship of the Ring was the one I watched it, and it's another one of those. The music, which is Howard Shore
so
for those, is the breaking of the Fellowship, and that bit of music as he sails out and Sam tries to get to him and can't. It's spot on. It's absolutely spot on. And then you got the little bit that's a bit of music that's called Concerning Hobbits, which is that dum 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 dum. That it's just spot on for the song. It's just spot on for that point of the film.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. Fifth Element.
Mila Jovovich.
And Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Brilliant film. Forbidden Planet, which for me is like 50s sci-fi, and it's one of the first of. I think, depending on how you look at it, the effects for its time were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Another Leslie Nielsen film.
Okay,
In a serious role
Airplane.
before Airplane and Naked Gun.
Forbidden
Planet. 56?
Yeah,
57?
No, 56.
Oh, hang on then.
Oh, wow.
And it's where we get Robbie the Robot from.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, and also Water Pigeon. Water Pigeon at the time played a load of leads of stuff. He was a captain of Seaview in the film that's Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Yeah. 1961.
Yeah. He's
you know your old movies.
Yeah, I kind of grew up with them. I grew up with them, so yeah. And it's another one of those things of science leading you and going, if you have power, what to do with it, that kind of thing. It's very clever film. Good film. And the only other one, as I mentioned earlier, was a film called Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky is a brilliant...
1993.
1993. And at the time, X-Files has just come out.
Yeah.
And there was in the early 90s, late 80s, a lot going on with conspiracy theories and everything. Everybody was as nervous as hell anyway in the 80s with America and Russia, all that kind of thing.
The Cold War heating up.
Yeah, and everything. And everybody loved a
Cuban
conspiracy
Missile
theory.
Crisis. Yeah.
So everybody loved a conspiracy theory. And this film came out called Fire in the Sky, which follows these loggers and they're abducted.
Right.
And then I think one of them disappears and one of them's killed. I can't remember. It's a long time since I saw it. But they're like, no one believes them.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
no one believes them. But they are actually abducted. And it's actually the scene in the ship while he's abducted where they're doing stuff to his head and everything.
Oh, like...
the actual testing
what do they
scene.
call that? They're going to... Like probe sort of thing. Yeah,
so they do stuff to his face, to his mouth, his nose and everything. And that's the scene where at the time everybody was like,
what the fuck?
The hell is this?
Yeah.
And the last scene is where basically no one can say they're lying. There is actually a truth to it of the abduction.
Right.
It's a brilliant little film. You'll either love it or you won't, but it's a great film.
I've got two for F.
Oh, what you got?
So I've got, obviously, I had Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
First Blood.
Ah, Rambo. Yeah.
Yep, so, great movie. It's a weird one. I think First Blood is the better movie, but First Blood Part 2 is like the better action movie.
Yeah, is First Blood the first film?
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
And then Rambo 3 is it's called just Rambo 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that movie. And then my other one is a comedy movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Russell Brand's in it.
Yeah, is Chris Marshall in it?
Good question. It's got like Mila Kunis in it as well.
Yeah.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Look.
There you go. Jonah Hill,
Oh,
Paul
no,
Rudd,
yeah, I'm thinking something
Jason
different.
Segel, who's
Yeah.
in How I Met Your Mother.
It's half the Hangover lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Not Hangover.
No, what am I thinking of? I can't remember. What's he in before? Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, Superbad.
Superbad,
Yeah.
that's it.
He's in loads of movies, but
Yeah.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall's a good.
Oh,
like,
no, I've never
it's like
watched that.
It's like a romantic comedy.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, it's funny. Basically he like is a composer and his wife like is an actress and he composes the music for a program.
Yeah.
And she basically cheats on him with Russell Brand.
Oh.
And he's like, shit, what do I do? Like my life's falling apart. So he goes on vacation, but they're vacating at the same place he is.
Oh no.
Yeah. So.
Oh right, no, I've never watched that. I'll have to watch that.
It's good. It's good. It's
I shall have to
it's
watch
one of them like hour and 50-minute movies, and you'll just be like,
and you either like it or you don't.
Yeah. There's like a really younger looking Mila Kunis in it as well, which is like, never a bad thing.
59
minutes into the episode. into the part. So we've done F, E, D, C, B, and A. So
the next one, I wouldn't mind betting we could probably do all of it in.
Well, we're 6 down.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to tick these off. So yeah.
Yeah, because
I think we'll get a good chunk of them done.
Certainly.
So yeah, if it's not going to be 4 parts, it will 100% be 3. So see you in part 3, guys.